Welcome to The Blitz, a podcast from Coram Deo Church. The Blitz is all about tackling tough topics head-on at full speed. Are you ready?
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
Can I provide a definition? No.
Yeah.
I can't.
You can?
Not in this context.
So
I'm not a biologist.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whatever time of the day it is that you happen to be checking out this podcast. My name is John, pastor at Coram Deo Church, and I will be your host today on The Blitz. All right, guys. Well, that audio clip that you heard at the beginning of this podcast came from the confirmation hearings for Judge Jackson, who, of course, sits on the Supreme Court. And she was questioned by a lady named Marsha Blackburn, who was a senator from Tennessee. And she asked Judge Jackson a very straightforward question that should be very, very simple for anybody, above the age of 4 or 5 to answer. And what she asked this judge, who now is residing on the Supreme Court and determining the outcomes of cases and handing down judgments that have massive ramifications for our entire country, not just our country, but also for the world, because what we do here sets other things in motions in other countries. And so it's hard to imagine a position with greater influence. This simple question: Can you tell me what a woman is? Can you give a definition of a woman for the word woman? And her answer was no. She could not give an answer to the question what a woman is. A woman, highly educated, multiple degrees, Harvard graduate, Supreme Court justice, cannot provide a definition, for what a woman is. And the reason that she stated that she could not give a definition is because she was not a biologist. And so I remember when this actually happened, I saw it and I could not believe. I was like, oh my gosh, this is insanity. And of course she was approved. And the truth is, the real scandal here is not that she doesn't know what a woman is. The scandal is that she lied about not knowing what a woman is, that the cultural situation is such that that she could not risk to say in public an answer that everybody knows is truth. She could not speak the truth publicly and on the record. That's the real scandal. She certainly knows what a woman is. She was lying about it. And again, the justification was, I'm not a biologist. And what I want to do in this short episode here, and this is the last June Pride Month episode of The Blitz. What I want to do is I want to deal with not all the cultural dynamics that lead to her lying in front of people. That would be interesting. But I want to talk about her justification for the lie, for the statement, I'm not a biologist, because that simple phrase, those 4 words, represent a massive problem, a massive issue in our current cultural moment. And what is underneath that statement is this notion that is increasingly pervasive, and that is this: unless you are a highly trained professional in a particular field, you cannot know the truth. Okay, and unless you have lots of degrees, unless you've studied and studied and studied, and you've gone to prestigious, universities and institutions, and unless you are a expert in a particular field, your wisdom, your intuition, your knowledge, your observations, your thoughts, your objections, your concerns, if you're not a professional, they don't matter. Okay, because that's what she's saying. She goes, I'm not qualified to say what a woman is because I'm not a professionally trained biologist. And that type of reasoning is absolutely pervasive and corrosive. And what it does, right, that approach, that kind of an answer is meant to shut people up. Okay, that answer is meant to intimidate you, to convince you to not speak up about what you see. It's meant to convince you to question what is obvious to you and what for your whole life has been obvious to you. Her response, "I'm not a biologist," is meant to get you to question what you think, and to question what you see, and to question what you believe. And I mean, and what you see and believe and think in the most plainest, simplest, most fundamental sense of the word. Meaning, right, do you really know what a woman is? That's what that answer is saying. Do you know? I mean, seriously, you may be married and you may have, 5 kids and some grandkids on the way, and you may have successfully raised a family and all that, but do you actually know what a woman is? Can you actually know that without going to Harvard? Right? That's what that question is saying. And it's that same type of reasoning that is also pervasive in the public schools and public education, right? You hear increasingly, and this is true across the nation. I am certain that I know that there are certain conservative pockets in our nation and more conservative states where this is not as much of an issue. It is certainly widespread. It is certainly widespread in Kitsap County, where we live. And that's this idea that the educators know best, right? Teachers are highly trained professionals. They know how to teach your kids best. They know what your kids need to know better than you. They know what kind of education will be best for your kids. They know how these ideas about gender and ideology and LGBTQIA+, all that stuff, they know it better than you. And so as a parent, your job is to pay taxes so that teachers can work, and then shut up because you're not a teacher. You're not a professional. You don't know how this works. Your opinion does not matter, right? It's the same thing. Their response to you. So if you are a concerned parent and you have questions about things that are being taught, and you should, and you have questions about things that are being promoted. So for example, just 2 weeks ago, I went to a local high school, and I walked up to the main entrance, and it had all of this chalk art on the sidewalk about "say gay" and "love is love," and this is an ideology, a sexual ideology that is invading and is pervasive in public education. And if you want to push back on it, the problem is you're not a teacher, or you're not an administrator, or you're not a principal, or you're not a sociologist, or you're not a physician, or you're not a psychologist or a counselor, or whatever it is. See, mom and dad don't know jack. That's what they're trying to convey here, right? Unless you are a professionally, highly educated, trained person with a certificate in a particular field, your opinion does not matter. It's true in terms of education, right? It's also true in terms of medicine, right? When we went through the whole COVID thing, unless you were a professional, right, you had no idea what was going on. Your thoughts did not matter in terms of the lockdown and the impact that was going to have on our children, the social, the mental, the psychological impact. Like lots of people looked at the lockdowns and said, this is not going to be good. Right? It's not good to separate people and lock them down. We are social creatures. We need to be with one another. But you see, you're not a virologist. You're not a highly trained, a person with multiple degrees in medicine or science, in whatever it is. Your opinion doesn't matter. That's the line that keeps being told and sold over and over again. Unless you are a professional, your opinion does not matter, and you're probably wrong. And this also happens in terms of like medicine and health with the gender affirming care, that if you object to putting foreign chemicals into a child's body, if you object to, basically giving a young boy the same medicine that is used to chemically castrate prisoners, if you are opposed to the idea of young girls having their breasts removed and surgeries being performed to sexually mutilate a child's body, see, your opinion doesn't matter because you're not a doctor. And again, you're not a psychologist. Right? So whatever you think, whatever you see, it doesn't matter. And again, the whole goal, the whole point is to get you to question yourself so that you will shut up. Because this is what's going on. The things that are happening, and I'm applying this specifically to Pride Month and LGBTQ, okay? The things that are happening are so obviously wrong. They are obviously a lie. We do know what a man is. We do know what a woman is. All of humanity, for all of history, has known this. We do know that a man cannot become a woman and that a woman cannot become a man. We know these things. We know that that all of the activity that is associated in part of, inescapably part of the LGBTQ community and ideology, that all of that stuff is harmful. You can go to government websites right now, go to CDC, go to the NIH. You can find the data. Anybody who participates in this kind of a lifestyle and community, they are sick, right? It's not good for our bodies. Our bodies weren't created for this. They do not flourish in that type of an environment. It's obvious to everybody, okay? But here's the thing. You can't say that. Right? Because you're not a professional. Your opinion doesn't matter. What you know, what is clear and common sense and obvious to you, you see, that just doesn't matter because you don't have the degree. That is how this oppressive regime and movement silences opposition. Okay? Because like I said, it's clear. It's obvious. Like the truth is plain as day. We all know what a woman is. We all know what a man is. We all know the difference between male and female. We know this. We have known this. Our textbooks have clearly, unapologetically articulated this difference for years and years and years and years and years and years. And now all of a sudden, nobody knows what it is. Nobody knows because are you actually a physician? Are you actually a doctor? And not just a doctor, but you have to be a doctor that specializes in a particular type of gender-affirming care nonsense, right? They are trying to get you to doubt what you know and to doubt what you see. And the real goal is not just to get you to doubt, but it's to get you to shut up. And this is very, very clear. It's obvious in Pride Month because what happens? What happens when, let's say, Paulsbo, right, a city just down the road from us, wonderful, beautiful place, great shops, right on the water, man, just a fantastic place to go spend some time. Lots of boats down there at the marina, just beautiful, beautiful. Okay, but what happens when the mayor decides that they're going to plant pride flags with your tax dollars, right, all up and down Main Street? What is that about? You know what that's about? It's not just about, oh, we want to support a particular people. It's about shutting people up. It's meant to be an indicator. It sends a signal that, you know what, if you're opposed to this, you're the minority. If you're opposed to this, there's something wrong with you. Because see the rest of our beautiful city? You see the flags everywhere? Like, what's wrong with you? Don't you see that you're just being critical and narrow-minded and bigoted and judgmental and all of the other words, right? That's what it's meant to do. It's meant to make you feel ashamed of what you know, so much so that you will not speak up about it, right? This movement is about shutting people down. It's about quieting the voice of Christians who are concerned that their neighbors and their communities are embracing a way of life and an ideology that is objectively harmful to the body and eternally harmful to the soul. They want to shut that down. They do not want you to speak up. They want you to be ashamed of what you believe. They want you to be ashamed of the way you think. They want you to be ashamed of your faith, so much so that you won't say anything. That's the point. Because after all, are you even a doctor? Are you even a sociologist? Are you even, whatever it is, fill in the blank? That's what it's about. It's about shutting down the opposition. Okay? So as we, end this Pride Month series of Blitz, I want to leave you with this exhortation, with this challenge, okay? And it's this: speak up. You have to speak up. We have to speak up. This ideology is harmful. It is objectively harmful to the body. It is harmful to communities. It is harmful to the individual, and it is eternally harmful to the soul. The scriptures are so abundantly, overwhelmingly clear on this issue. People who do this stuff do not inherit the kingdom of God. You can't turn that into saying they do inherit the kingdom of God. They do not inherit the kingdom of God. And so this movement, this behavior, this ideology, it is harmful. Real people are harmed by this. Real people embrace this, thinking that, this is great, right? And in the end, it only brings darkness and harm to themselves. So I'm guessing you're listening to this. You're probably not a biologist. You're probably, not a psychologist, a trained whatever it is, right? But here's what you need to know. Truth is truth. You do not need to be a professional to know what the truth is. You do not need to be a professional to speak the truth. You do not need to be a professional to share the truth. Do not question what your eyes see. Do not question what you know and what you believe. Do not be afraid to speak up and speak the truth, particularly to this issue of gender ideology, confusion, immorality, and mutilation of the body. Speak up. You don't have to be a professional. You just have to be a human being who has their eyes open, and you will see it. And where you see it, right, you need to speak it, even if you're not a biologist. All right. That wraps up today's episode and also brings an end to the Pride Month kind of special focus thing. This is the last invite for questions that you may have about Pride Month and faith and anything in between there. So if you've got those questions, you can email pastor, P-A-S-T-O-R, pastor at corumdeochurch.org, and I will get those questions, and later on this summer, I will go ahead and respond to some of those. All right, get those questions in, and we will talk to you soon. Take care.